15, let's go through the top 15 free agents. We'll count you down 15 to 1.
It's time.
Let's start with number 15,
Let's
of course. Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls, restricted free agent. There was some buzz out there that Chicago would not blindly match any offer sheet out there for LaVine, Harris.
Nor should they. And I think that we saw with Zach LaVine last year that he is a good player. I mean, he only played in 24 games last season. But look, is he worth $146 million on a 5-year deal? I mean, is he really worth a max slot for the Bulls? I don't know, but I wonder if you're the Bulls, do you have to do it anyway? Like, do you just have to make a move for him simply because you don't really have a lot of the franchise players on this roster? I mean, you have Lauri Markkanen. He's not due for a max contract in a while. They don't really have anyone else at the guard position that is worth anything right now. I think they end up giving him the max simply because I think they have to. And also, I think their hand is going to be forced. I think the Brooklyn Nets are going to do to the Bulls what they did to the Wizards with Otto Porter and just give him an offer sheet for the max. And the Bulls are either going to lose Zach LaVine or have to give him a max contract. And I think it also fits with what their lineup looks like. I mean, they have to have someone at the 2. They need Zach LaVine on this team in terms of just scoring output. They drafted Chandler Hutchison. They drafted Wendell Carter Jr., but they need the guy on the floor that can score from the guard position. I think they end up maxing out LaVine. I think they're going to regret it. I think he'll end up getting traded, but they have to do it at least for the next 2 years.
All right, so LaVine checks in there at number 15. At number 14 we go, Tyreke Evans.
Now, you may know I became minorly NBA Weekly / social media famous for my rant about the Memphis Grizzlies being stupid and not trading away Tyreke Evans during the trade deadline. But regardless of that, he had a great season, 19.4 points per game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists a game. I think he's going to end up with a nice contract. There's a rumor that the Grizzlies are going to sign him to their mid-level exception and give him $8.5 million. I think he might go to free agency in general, maybe get a $9 to $10 million a year deal over 2 years. I think a 2-year, $20 million deal for Tyreke Evans coming off the season he had would not be out of the question. I would love to see him go to Portland and be a guy for them at the 2 or the 3. I would love to see him go to the Pacers and be a guy for them at the 3. I think the Sixers would also be a great fit for him as well. But for me, I think he ends up back with Memphis. I think it's just going to be the easiest and safest pick for him. It just makes the most sense for him in his career. You do another 1-year deal. You get about $8 to $9 million. Maybe at the end of next season, they give you a 2 to 3-year contract extension. So overall, the Grizzlies don't have a great cap situation right now. They really don't. They still have Chandler Parsons and his outrageous contract. They still have Marc Gasol and Mike Conley. He jumps up to the $30 million mark. But getting Jaren Jackson Jr. as that rookie deal is great. I think Tyreke Evans at $8 million is a good contract for him too.
He's there at number 14 on the list of top 15 free agents. At number 13, Isaiah Thomas. Not a great year last year.
No, not a great year. A really rough year in terms of his overall output. I mean, only 15 points per game when he did end up playing. He had that hip injury. He got traded from the Celtics to the Cavs and then the Cavs to the Lakers, and then he stopped playing altogether. Unfortunately, no Brinks truck for good old Isaiah Thomas. He's not going to get the max deal that he always wanted. I think he'll end up getting a 1-year deal. And as of right now, the contract that you're going to get if you're a good 6-man backup deal is similar to what the Clippers gave Lou Will, except Isaiah Thomas is not going to get the length on it. $10 to $11 million a year for Isaiah Thomas is really all he's going to end up getting.
Is he worth that?
Yes, I think so. At a 1-year deal, sure. I mean, look, as a 6th man off the bench, he's going to give you 14 to 15 points per game and 25 to 27 minutes a night. I think that's worth 10 to 11 mil a year. I think JJ Redick will end up getting paid more, but look, when Isaiah Thomas is healthy, the dude can score. And I think as a 6-man in today's NBA, you just need players who can score from that position. I think the Lakers, obviously, bringing him back would be a good call. I think the Spurs would be a great fit for him as well because they don't really have a primary scoring guard right now. And the Knicks would be fun, but they have too many guards. Maybe the Bulls, if they want to bring someone in to have as a mentor for a lot of young guys. But I still think the Lakers is where he's going to end up. Look, again, by the way, he's not going to end up starting. We have him there at point guard to, just because as of right now,
fill space.
The Lakers simply do not have a lot of players under contract for next season besides their young guys. So Isaiah Thomas, as of right now, would end up with the starting spot.
And we could perhaps see that lineup change should LeBron James head on over there and Paul George.
Maybe you see that a little bit later.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Isaiah Thomas at number 13. Let's take a look at number 12, JJ Redick. What do you make of this guy here at number 12?
JJ Redick has a very interesting offseason coming around simply because we need to see what he's going to be able to get this offseason in terms of money. I mean, he got paid $23 million last season on a one-year deal from the Sixers, a contract that he just not necessarily didn't deserve, but I think was just way overpaid for a one-year deal. But they had the money to pay him, and they wanted him there. I think he gets something a little bit closer to the $12 to $13 million number. The 76ers are still an option for him, though it really depends on what they do with LeBron James and Paul George and the rest of them. JJ Redick is an interesting case. I think he doesn't go to the highest bidder. I think he goes to the team that gives him the best chance to win a title. He's title hunting right now. He's been title hunting the past couple years. I think he thought that last year, look, you can't turn down $23 million a year. You just can't do it. So I think this year he's looking for a little bit bigger of a chance at a title rather than the most money.
Lakers, Spurs, Cavs, potential options there for JJ Redick there, Harris. And you want to take a look at the 76ers lineup here. What do you make of it?
I love it. I love what they did in the draft in terms of the players. I still hate that trade, and they will always be a loser in terms of my trade because they traded away Mikal Bridges, and that was dumb. But I like their bench with Landry Shamet and Zaire Smith. You added with JJ Redick. That is a great guard rotation behind Ben Simmons. You can put multiple shooters out there at the same times, even though that Simmons is still the primary ball handler on the court. But with JJ Redick, I wonder if the 76ers are going to have enough money to pick him back up. $12 to $13 million coming off of $23 million from last year is a pretty big change. So he's going to have to, make a personal sacrifice in order to get it. But watch out for the Lakers. I still think they're an option of maybe signing him to a lower level deal if he wants to play with LeBron James and Paul George if they both end up getting signed.
All right, let's go to number 11 here on the list. His name is Marcus Smart.
I am the number one Marcus Smart fan on this planet, Cam. Number one. No one loves Marcus Smart more than I do. I completely understand what he brings to the table. I do not care how many points he scores a game. That 10.2 points per game is the most mystifying number in the NBA. It doesn't matter. Marcus Smart is an absolute stud. This dude brings you defense, effort, hustle, rebounding, passing, ball handling, everything on an NBA court that you could ever want outside of the ability to score at a prolific rate, which is fine. That's why you're not giving Marcus Smart $20 million a year. He is totally deserving of $14 million a year, if not more. I think the Celtics can end up giving it to him. Marcus Smart is a special player. He really does bring something to an NBA court that very, very few other players can't even come close to bringing. He's like Lance Stevenson if Lance Stevenson was actually a good NBA player and could do something viable on an NBA court. No offense to Lance Stevenson, but we've kind of seen what he's been able to do in the NBA over the past couple years. Marcus Smart is a fantastic player. He is widely underrated. I don't understand why people think that Marcus Smart is not a good player. The Celtics would be nowhere without Marcus Smart in the past 3 years. Because in my opinion, the most important number in basketball is not points per game. It's not. The most important stat in basketball to me is plus minus. And every single time that the Celtics are winning big games, their number one guy in plus minus has been Marcus Smart, and it will remain Marcus Smart. I love what he brings to the table, and I think he's a fantastic player. He's going to end up back on the Celtics. And if you look at their lineup for next season, it's fantastic. Their lineup going next year is absolutely ridiculous, even with their losing a couple players. Look, they're going to bring back Marcus Morris next season. They're going to bring back, Aaron Baines as well. Their bench is fantastic. I like what they're bringing back in terms of Semi Ojeleye as well. Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart starting there at the 2. They're going to have a really, really good bench. They're going to have a really, really good starting lineup. They also signed Brad Wanamaker, like I mentioned. They drafted Robert Williams. This is a stacked team next year, Cam. It's going to be ridiculous.
It's a good lineup. All right, Marcus Morris there at number 11. Let's go to the top 10 of the free agent pool here in the NBA. Julius Randle at number 10.
Julius Randle might be the most interesting free agent this offseason that isn't, one of the tier 1 guys, because we don't really know what Julius Randle is going to get in terms of an overall contract. I mean, is he going to get $15 million a year, or is he going to get $10 million a year? I don't really know what we're going to get in terms of money with Julius Randle. I mean, it's just, we don't know. I mean, Zach Randolph got $14 million a year last year. Like, it just, the power forward market, if you're not an elite player, is completely up in the air right now. And I also think the teams that Julius Randle could sign with is also up in the air. I mean, does he go back to the Lakers? Does he go to the Mavs? Do the Suns throw a deal at him? Julius Randle is a very interesting free agent overall. He's a good player. I think we've seen over the past couple of years that he's really found his place in the NBA. Personally, for me, I don't think Julius Randle ends up back on the Lakers next year. I don't see how it's possible. I mean, they want LeBron, they want Paul George, they want all these other guys.
They can't keep him.
They can't keep him. He's a restricted free agent. Someone is going to sign him to a deal, and I think it's going to be in the Dallas Mavericks. I don't think they want DeMarcus Cousins. I think that's a little too expensive for him, but overall, I think that he's going to lead the Lakers. And if you add Julius Randle onto the Dallas Mavericks, maybe then they're a playoff team. I mean, maybe then they can reach the 7th or 8th seed. I like Randle's fit in that lineup. Dennis Smith Jr., Luka Doncic, Harrison Barnes, Dirk, plus Julius Randle. You push Maxi Kleber to the bench. You still have a lot of good young guards there with Yogi Ferrell and Jalen Brunson. I like this Mavs team. I think they're growing correctly. You add Julius Randle on a 2 to 3 year deal as well, while Dennis Smith Jr., Luka Doncic are developing. That's a good team over the next couple of years.
All right, so Julius Randle is there at number 10 on the list. Let's take a look at number 9 now. We've got Jabari Parker, Harris.
Jabari Parker is an unfortunate case. I think that without all of his injuries, he would have ended up being like a top 30 player in the NBA, but he just can't get his feet under him. He keeps ending up injured, and we saw it last year. He's starting to clash with coaches. He's starting to have issues with other teammates. Apparently him and Giannis don't get along great. So who really knows what's going to happen with Jabari Parker? But I will say this. He wants the max. He wants a max contract. I don't know who's going to give him the max, but he certainly wants it. I don't think he's going to end up...
Does he deserve it?
Yes. I think with his overall talent and potential and his ability to score from the power forward position, he does deserve it. But he's going to end up being one of the guys that gets the max that ends up getting traded in 2 years because he just isn't worth his contract anymore. And you're going to have to attach a first to move him around and all this stuff. Jabari Parker, it is one of the sadder cases in the NBA of what happens when your career just doesn't formulate with your injuries. Now, I think he ends up leaving. I think that his time with Milwaukee is over. I am praying that he ends up replacing Derek Favors with the Utah Jazz. I think that is just such a perfect fit in terms of his game style, in terms of how he plays, and the style next to Rudy Gobert. It's just such a perfect fit. Donovan Mitchell, Ricky Rubio, Joe Ingles, Jabari Parker, Rudy Gobert, a fantastic bench, a great head coach. I think that's one of the best teams in all of basketball last year if they get Jabari Parker. They're completely overpaying for him, but it's like what the Nuggets did with Paul Millsap. Paul Millsap was not a max player in my opinion, but sometimes you just have to pay those guys that much money to improve your team. I think Jabari Parker falls into that category.
And he's there at number 9 on the list of free agents for 2018. Let's take a look at number 8, Aaron Gordon with the Orlando Magic. He wants a big-time max offer from somebody.
And I think he's going to get it. But the real question is, are the Orlando Magic going to match any deal that they bring in? Apparently, according to a lot of rumors, that is what's going to happen as of right now. Aaron Gordon is going to get matched with the Orlando Magic and stay there. But why? If you're the Orlando Magic, you drafted Jonathan Isaac last year, you draft Mo Bamba this year, why bring back Aaron Gordon? I talked about this during the draft. What is the direction of the Orlando Magic? What are they trying to do here? I understand keeping Aaron Gordon because you want to, have some sort of, resemblance of talent development on your team, but I just don't understand why they want to match his max offer. I think they're going to end up doing it, but it still doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't get, if you're the Magic, you drafted Jonathan Isaac, you draft Mo Bamba, what's the point of maxing out Aaron Gordon? You're trying to develop down low and bring in more young players, and you pay a guy who you've drafted a guy at his position last year?
Maybe they wait and see how the market really comes to fruition for Aaron Gordon, and then they can pounce and see what kind of money they can actually give him. Maybe they don't actually just jump to the fray and say, all right, we'll give you this amount of money. He's a restricted free agent.
He is a restricted free agent, but someone is going to give him a max offer sheet. I think the Suns are going to, maybe one of the first days of free agency, be like, here's a max sheet. Like, why not? If you're the Phoenix Suns, you just drafted Ayton, you have Josh Jackson, you have Mikal Bridges, you got all these great guards, Booker, Elliot Kobo, to go along with it. Why not go after Aaron Gordon? Give you someone down low who can legitimately score between 18 to 20 points a game. You put him next to DeAndre Ayton. That is an outstanding combo on offense. I don't really see what the point of the Orlando Magic is right now with Aaron Gordon. I'm a little bit confused as to what their point is with drafting Jonathan Isaac. That pick just makes absolutely no sense to me, but we'll see.
Aaron Gordon's there at number 8 on the list. Let's take a look at number 7 now. His name is DeAndre Jordan, and he apparently wants out of LA and away from the Clippers, and perhaps he could go to a team like the Houston Rockets.
DeAndre Jordan,
Perhaps.
I think DeAndre is going to end up back with the Clippers. I just don't really understand, like, what does he stand to gain by leaving? He will, look, his player option right now is over $25 million. So if he doesn't, accept his player option, he's going to get less money on the open market, probably is going to have to move, and if he moves, he's not going to get the max contract from anyone this offseason. I think for DeAndre Jordan, it just makes sense to pick up his own player option and move on from there. It's going to continue moving on. I don't really see what DeAndre Jordan stands to gain by not taking his player option with the Clippers. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
All right, DeAndre Jordan, the future for him very much in question. Now, you take a look at the top options for him. You still have the Clippers at number 1. The Mavs make some sense, too.
The Mavs, DeAndre Jordan going back to the Mavs. Hold on.
They're willing to forgive him, by the way.
Hold on, pause. Cam, we have to high five because apparently people don't think we're live. We're live.
We're
there
live.
You go. We did it.
You
It's
happy,
like a
YouTube commenters?
People. Jesus. Anyway, I think DeAndre's going back to the Clippers. The going back to the Mavericks would be hilarious. It would be one of the funniest storylines of all time for NBA free agency after everything that happened the first time around. The Knicks are an option there because Cantor is gone.
Hold on, I got to interrupt you. Yes,
up?
I am very easy to make fun of, okay, folks? I went through grade school and all that. I know how it goes. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, there you go. So the Lakers are also an option for DeAndre, but I can't see him being a trader and going from the Clippers to the Lakers. But this is still a good Clippers team. And with DeAndre Jordan, it becomes even a better Clippers team. I mean, you got SGA, you have Jerome Robinson, you keep DeAndre Jordan, you still have Gallinari, Tobias Harris, a lot of great guards on the bench as well, Teodosic, Patrick Beverley, Avery Bradley, Lou Williams. You keep Montrezl Harrell as well. I like what the Clippers are bringing to the table next season. I think they're a playoff team. The only thing they really need is help, so we'll see.
All right, DeAndre Jordan's there at number 7. We've got DeMarcus Cousins at number 6 on the list. Big man coming off an Achilles injury, Harris. What's his stock like?
I hate giving max contracts to big men coming off of a blown out Achilles. I mean, I'm still wary of giving Kristaps Porzingis an extension, and he only tore his ACL. Men who are 7 feet tall and have leg injuries are not a good thing to invest in. But if you're the New Orleans Pelicans, you don't really have an option at this point. There is a rumor out there that the Pelicans are going to offer him a below max deal at 2 to 3 years and hope and pray that he ends up taking it. I actually don't know if any team in the NBA right now is going to offer DeMarcus Cousins a max deal. If I'm DeMarcus Cousins, I take a 1-year deal at the most possible money and come back next year looking for the max. He's 29 years old. I believe at this point, if you're DeMarcus Cousins and you can prove that coming off a torn Achilles, you're going to have a great season, have another contract year. I mean, look, he's 27 years old. He has plenty of time left in his NBA career to get the max. If I was him, take the 1-year deal, go back to New Orleans, play with Anthony Davis, make the playoffs, and then get a max contract next season. That's what I would do if I'm DeMarcus Cousins, because they have a great lineup coming back next year.
All right, DeMarcus is there at number 6, Harris. It's time to get to the top 5, and Clint Capela is there at number 5 of the Houston Rockets.
Clint Capela look, all these other guys, LeBron, Durant, Paul George, we at this point know where they could end up. Clint Capela is going to have the most teams of any player this offseason trying to sign him. The Suns are going to go after him. The Magic are going to go after him. The Bucks are going to go after him. The Pacers are going to go after him. Every single team that is an open max slot is going to go after Clint Capela. The Rockets can match any deal that comes in. But Clint Capela last year turned into one of the best rim protectors in the entire NBA, one of the most versatile players in all of basketball, a great two-way guy. He's super young, super long, can do multiple things for you on the court. His value skyrocketed this postseason when it proved that he was maybe the second most important player on the entire Rockets team and the real reason as to why they ended up being the successful team that they were. I think he ends up on the Phoenix Suns, and it sucks for the Rockets because if you look at their lineup going into the next season without Clint Capela,
it's kind of bare.
Not great. I love the dramatic photo of Nene, but without Clint Capela, that Rockets team just doesn't, it's not complete. It's not complete. If you're wondering why Eric Gordon's in the starting lineup, those are the only players as of right now that the Rockets have under contract for next season. I threw in Chris Paul there just to be nice, but the Rockets right now have a very, very poor roster. They got a lot of free agency stuff to take care of, and Clint Capela might be the number one guy on that list.
All right, he's at number 5, Harris. Let's go to number 4. We'll stay in Houston and take a look at one Chris Paul, who could be texting with LeBron as we speak.
Yeah, so we just talked about Chris Paul and about how I think he'll end up going back to the Rockets. He's going to want a multi-year max contract. 5 years, $176 million is the contract that he is pursuing. Maybe a 4-year deal as well for a little bit less. If you're wondering why his max deal is bigger than the likes of DeMarcus Cousins, it is because he has made a certain amount of all-NBA teams, all defensive teams, as well in his career, and that obliges him to a larger max contract than other players. But Chris Paul's going back to the Rockets. I'll say it to you right now, straight up and down.
You sure about that?
He's going to the Rockets. I know we had the weird...
But they're beefing, apparently.
All right. My buddy used to work with Chris Broussard at Fox Sports, and I always used to tell him before he'd go to work to tell Chris Broussard that his sources suck. And I'm saying it again. Chris Broussard, I don't know who your sources are. They're bad. He says that Chris Paul and the Rockets are feuding. Then in the NBA awards, they're taking pictures together. Their arms are around each other. They're cracking jokes at Chris Broussard's expense. Please. Chris Paul and the Houston Rockets are in no danger right now. They're just fine. They're going to pay Chris Paul his money, and that's going to be that. We need to stop making a big deal out of all this garbage. Chris Paul is going back to the Rockets. It's a non-story.
All right.
And yes, Lee Alfaro Soto, I will mess with Chris Broussard because he's gotten so many things wrong over the past 3 to 4 years that I do not trust anything that comes out of his mouth. I don't. He's wrong. He was wrong about LeBron. He was wrong about Kevin Durant. He's been wrong about everyone so far. I'm done with Chris Broussard.
All right, let's go to the top 3. We will start with Paul George. Will it be LA? Will it be OKC? The big question for him.
Well, the Thunder can technically pay him the most amount of money. They can give him that $176 million deal. And I think the more and more that Paul George has started to think about this, the more and more that amount of money that they can physically pay him is really starting to get to him. I mean, look, he can go to the Lakers and he'll get less money. He'll get $108 million with the Lakers if he leaves. With the Thunder, he could end up getting $175 million. He could lose $40 million on the open market with the Lakers. I made a mistake. If he goes to the Lakers, he would sign a $130 million deal because he's been in the league for more than 6 years. So he's still going to lose almost $50 million if he leaves the Thunder. And this is a guy that's been waiting to get paid like this. I still wonder if he ends up with the Thunder, but I personally think that he goes to the Lakers. I still think that the Lakers are the number one place for him. It's where he grew up. It's where he's always wanted to play. It's where he lives in the offseason. I still think that the Lakers are the number one spot for Paul George. I've said it all.
What do you make of the lineup? Sans LeBron James, but you got Paul George.
Without LeBron James, this lineup is weird. But with LeBron James, it makes a lot more sense. I'll say that much. And I think that with LeBron James, it'll make a lot more sense than it currently does.
All right, so Paul George is there at number 3. We'll monitor what he does. Let's take a look at number 2, Kevin Durant. So we talked about him earlier in the show. He's going to opt out of his player option with the Warriors, but he will stay with them and just get a max deal.
Yes, he did get a max deal, and his free agency is totally up in the air. His contract is super different because the Warriors have his bird rights, and he's been playing for a certain amount of time, plus all the NBA teams, plus he won an MVP, and he's won a Finals MVP. So his max contract is all over the place. It's actually pretty similar to what LeBron James would be able to make on the open market as well. 4 years, $158 million would end up being kind of the max. They could also give him a 5-year deal, which would end up being about $175 million, but I don't end up seeing that happening. I think he'll take the 4-year deal, which is more money on a year-to-year basis. But look, Cam, I'm going to look at you dead in the eye.
God.
Kevin Durant is going to stay with the Warriors, and that's final. There's no other rumor about him going to the Lakers.
Are you seeing other rumors out there?
No.
Okay.
And there shouldn't be.
Right.
If you see any rumor out there from any website saying that Kevin Durant is going to a team that is not the Golden State Warriors, I want you to call them up, their editor, whoever it is, and call them fake news. Because they're fake news. Kevin Durant's going back to the Warriors, and we're going to have a really fun year next year, seeing if the Warriors can come back and actually make an impact. We'll see. I'm not convinced. Or of them winning a title, excuse me. That's what I meant to say. I don't think they'll win the title next year.
So no surprises there on that Warriors lineup.
No, not at all.
All right, so Kevin Durant is number 2. Number 1, the person who
I wonder who it could be.
should have won the MVP last night, the king himself, LeBron James.
LeBron James is going to sign a really, 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 really big contract extension with someone. He's going to be the highest paid player in basketball next season, whether that's with the Cavs, whether it's with the Lakers. It doesn't matter who it's going to end up being. He will end up being the highest paid player in all of basketball. He's going to get a max contract. It's going to be massive. It's going to be great, and I can't wait to see how much money he ends up getting. He totally deserves it, by the way. He deserves the most amount of money that you could possibly give to any player in basketball, and I think he's going to end up getting it from the Los Angeles Lakers.
I agree. He's going to LA.
He's going to LA. He's been going to LA for a while. He's going to go to LA. This has always been the plan. The plan has been for him to finish his career in Los Angeles, get into film, get into entertainment, and have a great time. And lucky for the Lakers, they have enough cap space to sign both Paul George and LeBron James. And now that you add LeBron James into this, it makes a lot more sense.
Sure.
It pushes Brandon Ingram to the bench. That's fine. He's still going to play a lot. Keeping Wagner and Kyle Kuzma, who are going to be 2 great LeBron James teammates. You have Lonzo Ball. They also drafted Sri Mikhailuk from Kansas. This is going to be a really fun Lakers team next year. I'm excited to see what they bring to the table. I think they're obviously a playoff team with LeBron. I think they win 50 games with LeBron. The real question is, are they a top 3 seed with LeBron and Paul George in a very competitive West?
The other question is, can they somehow get LeBron via free agency, Paul George via free agency as well, and then orchestrate somehow, and I know you're going to say no, a deal for Kawhi Leonard?
I don't think it's out of the question.
It would be unbelievable to see.
I just don't think it's really that possible. Now, hold on. We're going to keep that lineup up there. I'm just really quickly going to throw in what it will look like if Kawhi Leonard ends up on this team. All right, we're just,
just for fun.
We like to have fun here. We like to kind of mess around with people. With Kawhi Leonard on this team, this is the lineup. Paul George, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Lonzo Ball, and Mo Wagner.
Are you serious?
That is an outrageous team.
Harris, we're looking at a potential 2 seed, even 1 seed in the West with
that
lineup.
I made one small mistake. I forgot to get rid of Zubac on the bench and put in Kyle Kuzma instead. Just, maybe here, we'll push it over and have Kyle. There it is, Kyle Kuzma there sitting on the bench next to Brandon Ingram. And maybe they bring back Julius Randle as well. I threw Julius Randle in there. But look, this is a great lineup. This is a top 3. If they get Kawhi, Paul George, and LeBron, they win the West next year. 100%. Boom. Absolutely.
All right, let's summarize the list of 15. LeBron, KD, Paul George, Chris Paul, and Clint Capela, the top 5. Then 6 through 10, DeMarcus Cousins, DeAndre Jordan, Aaron Gordon, Jabari Parker, Julius Randle, and then 11 through 15 here, Morris, Redick, Thomas, Evans, LaVine.
Just to show we're live, one more time. High five.
One more.
There you go.
Crying out
We did
loud,
it.
you and your high five. All right, who's the best non-LeBron impending free agent? Durant, George, Paul, Clint Capela. If you go by our rankings, it's KD.
The best free agent is Paul George because Kevin Durant isn't really a free agent. The most interesting free agent left is Clint Capela because I think that where he ends up going could end up deciding a lot of things in the NBA next season. He is an impactful player. He goes to a team like the Suns, they make the playoffs next year 100%. So I'm excited to see what happens with Capela.
All right, folks, you guys have been watching NBA Weekly. We thank you so much for the comments and the entertainment. For Harris Rubenstein, I am Cam Rogers. We'll see you Thursday morning.